All right, welcome and good morning, everyone. I'm telling you, join Nook Club. We are about to begin 2021 again and start this year off with some new stuff. You know how when you start something, you like decide on, oh no, I can make it better. Oh, I can make it even better. Oh, I can change the color. I can do this and I can do that. Well, guess what? We are right now in the midst of doing that thing, okay? Getting into some new juicy bits and things. And this is our own private book club just for the Joy Nook Club. And remember, the only way that you can even know or hear or be a part of all this interesting, juicy bits and things is you have to be a member in the Joy Nook Club. So I want to let you know it is going to be my honor and my pleasure to introduce someone that is near and dear to my heart to begin this whole new journey that I have going on. But before I even get started with that, I want to read you a little something that I pulled out from this author that I will be interviewing today. It feels good to be lost in the right direction. This right here, written by Dr. Stacy Stanley. And I'm telling you, not only is it a pleasure to be talking about her work, but it is also a proud pleasure of mine to be the oldest cousin of Dr. Stacy Stanley. And I want you, as you're sitting there, to get yourselves ready for this broadcast because we are going to have some good and interesting conversation. Give Dr. Stanley a little bit of time to kind of walk you through her information, her book, and where her journals with an S, y'all, with an S. So if y'all are trying to figure this thing out and y'all sitting up there saying, what's this family all about? Because the cousin doing this, the cousin doing that, another cousin doing this, and another cousin's doing that. Yes, we are being and living our ancestors' wildest dreams, y'all. Their wildest dreams. We are it, and we are embracing it. And truly, I believe that our grandparents and great grandparents and aunts and uncles are looking at us being so proud. Our fathers who are brothers, they are looking down at us and being so proud of us. And our mothers are going to be watching this. So our parents being able to see us do this together. I know this is making them proud because it fills my heart, y'all. I'm gonna try not to cry because we're two cry babies. We are like two of the biggest cry babies ever in
Right.
the family. So, what I am going to do, I am not going to hold this broadcast up any longer, okay? And I just want to say this before I even get started in her bio, because I know I digress, y'all, okay? But when my team was thinking of what else can we do to up our game with the Joy Nook Club, and they came up with the having this book club, and I finally was just like, I gave in, y'all. I had to succumb, okay? And when I said to them, okay, well, then who's going to be the first author that we are going to interview? Without hesitation, and this is exactly how it happened on the Zoom call, one of my directors said, that's all she did. So then another was like, oh, wait a minute. And then they brought their book over and did just like that. So I'm just saying to you, this right here was not my doing, y'all. This was my team who purchased already the journal, and they started working and writing in their journals, okay? They were the ones who said, we think she should be the first one because this journal is good, Allenia. Now, I knew the journal was good because I the journal. But you try not to say, you know what, my family, you don't want to do that. But I'm not gonna lie, I was just like inside going, yay, Stacey, yes. And when they said it, I said, let's do this. And that's how this came forth. So I just wanted to just kind of give that tidbit that it wasn't me. It wasn't me at all. My team selected her. And that's because they actually purchased the journal on their own. Okay.
Oh.
So, all right. So we're going to get into her bio. Dr. Stacy Stanley. I just love saying that. I just want you to know that. I just love saying that.
Thank
Okay. All right.
you.
So Dr. Stacy Stanley is a retired cosmetologist with over 20 years of servicing people mentally and physically. It is her determination and passion to help others focus on the betterment of themselves. Dr. Stanley first developed an interest in psychology at the age of 17 when she volunteered at a local church child daycare center. As part of her responsibilities, she engaged in daily lessons with preschool age children and interacting with families. Now, how in the world she went from being a cosmetologist. Now, and mind y'all, she used to do Lucy Pearl, y'all. She used to do
Yes.
Lucy Pearl. She got Lucy Pearl started, okay? And 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 I know for a fact she did my daughter's hair, which is now down to her butt. She has to move it to sit on it, and she's a natural girl as well. So let me tell you, my cousin has skills for real. So what in the world? How did that overlap like that?
So many people see cosmetologists as an inside therapist, go-to person. Let me bring all the secrets. Let me bring all the emotions. And I'm just going to deposit it in your chair.
Right.
And it's my job to help you feel better internally and externally.
Mhm.
But it just goes back from just having a history working with children. That's where it all started. And the funny thing is, working with preschool kids, you find out so many things. You find out about the things you don't even want to hear about.
They tell all your business.
They tell their business, their mommy's business,
Yeah.
the daddy's business, the siblings' business,
Yes.
uncles and aunts' business. They don't forget any of it,
Right.
right?
You are so right.
And it's funny because, they do have some comical things that they come up with. But the sad part is some of the things that they experience at such a young age,
Mm-hmm. Right.
chances are they're not going to forget it because they're already building that long-term memory of they are
Yeah.
sponges.
Uh-huh.
They soak it all up. And it just went from there. And I remember working with one child. He was about 5 during that time. And he says to me, "Can I tell you about my mommy?" Our kids pat you on the arm, pat you on the
Right.
leg to get your attention. "Can I tell you about my mommy?" I said, "I hope it's some good things." It started off good,
And then
but then,
segue somewhere else.
and it's a lot to take
Mm.
in. And from that point, going forward, and I actually was doing that for community service. So that's why I started so young. Even with that was for community service. And, get ready to graduate from high school, you had to have those 75 hours.
Right.
And that's the direction I wanted to go into. Anyway, was working with children.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out and I enjoyed the experience. But there are some deeper things that I wanted to find out because the social side of it, the emotional side, their behavior, we don't typically focus so much on children because back then, they didn't have any say so.
Right.
They don't know
Mhm.
they don't know what they're talking about. That
Right.
was commonly heard, and that's far from the truth. They have so many emotions that are out of their control that they're
Right.
faced with,
Mhm.
just based on the environment that they're in, whether it's at home, whether it's in school, whether it's with loved ones, friends, even outside. I mean, so many situations can happen just being on the playground,
Right.
you know,
You're right.
and you will learn from that. There are so many stories that people can go back years ago and remember they experienced as being on the playground and getting hurt.
Right.
Um, for me, I experienced I was maybe about 5, I want to say about 5, and I bust my lip on my big wheel. And I remember the girl next door who I was playing with, she kept saying, "No, you can stand on your big wheel." Here I go,
Peer
standing
pressure.
on my big wheel.
Peer pressure.
And you remember how the big wheels were made back then? Like the back
Uh-huh.
part was like wide, and you got the 2 wheels on the back and
Right.
the 1 wheel on the front. And that was my strawberry shortcake big wheel. And I go to stand and ride, and I flipped backwards. And you would have thought that those friends outside would have came and helped me. My brother, who was out there playing one day, well, he was with his friends,
Right. Mhm.
saw me, and I was crying. He picked me up and brought me in the house. Blood was everywhere,
Oh,
you know. So I remember that, and I was 5. You know, just those friends, they will encourage you to do things, but when you get hurt,
are they gonna
are they
be
going to be
there?
there to help you? So, just studying behaviors,
Mhm.
and it just became I had my gift, and my gift, I was able to develop my passion at the same
Right.
time, if it
Right.
makes sense.
Oh, yeah, it makes
Um,
complete sense.
and so in 2003, I was like, I want to open up a daycare center. I want a center that was in a different direction. So I went and I had earned my early childhood development certification at the local college.
Okay.
And it just kind of went from there. Here we are. I really want to study the behavior and learned about
Mhm.
the theorists and psychologists that were involved in creating these theories about behavior. And it was just interesting to learn because you're thinking that theories are something that are really factual in so many sense that it
Mhm.
cannot be, you can't go against a theory. But it wasn't until later that I learned that, theories are tested over and over
Over
again,
again. Right.
for
Right.
reliability and things like that. So I had some really good experiences with getting me to where the
You are now.
psychologist part kicks
Right.
in.
Gotcha. So when you got your bachelor's degree from Morgan State University,
Go
okay?
Bears.
and and I know everyone's probably saying, "Oh, Allenia must have went to Morgan." No, I did not. Okay. Um, however, I do know that Morgan has really grown and blossomed in that area of psychology. Their
And you know what?
department.
You know what the funny thing is? I am now an adjunct professor at Morgan in the psychology department.
I gotta stop playing with this black girl. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, she started off one place and then she did a shift. That's what Joy Nook is all about. Shifting and allowing yourself to feel it as you go and experience it as you go. You experienced things when you were 5, which catapulted you into doing, this volunteer work, which then catapulted you into going to Morgan. And then after Morgan for your master's degree, you went to what, Chicago, the Chicago School of professional psychology, correct?
Yes, that was for my master's.
That's for a master's, y'all. Okay, I'm not done. Okay, because I did say Dr. Stanley, right? I did, and I didn't. But
I'm
you're
still
from.
getting used to that.
I'm sure. And I know they'd be like, that do they call you Dr. Stacy, Dr. Stanley? You know, which do you prefer? Because I know me, I'm Dr. Stacy. I say the whole government. Okay, y'all. The whole government. I know I'm the cousin that's extra. So when if you have that cousin that's extra, that's who you call to pump you up when you do things. I'm the it cousin. So
Yes, yes, I'm
so
all for it.
so from your masters, what really pushed you to go for your doctorate degree in general psychology from Capella University in 2017? Well, you went from 2007 to 2017. Am I correct?
No, that was the business. That was from the start of my business, but we'll
Got
get to that.
got it.
So I graduated from Morgan in 2014, and let me tell you, no one knew that I was applying for Morgan.
Mm,
I decided, I was like, you know what? I was at the shop one day, and one of the stylists, her daughter had came in to get service, and she was in social work.
okay.
And I said, I'm looking for a really good school. I don't think a university would be for me. At that
Mhm.
time I just had, well, no, I had Sanaya. So I had Tia and I had Sanaya. Sanaya was only maybe about one. And I said, I don't know if I can do a university. That would be, in my mind, because it was never taught to me, that you
Right.
can go part-time to a university. You didn't have to be full-time. You didn't have to get a scholarship.
Right.
There are grants available. I
Mhm.
wasn't taught that. So she said, no, Morgan. Morgan is a HBCU.
Mhm.
They have a really good psychology program. And she was like, we're in the same building. You will really like it.
Okay.
So I called Morgan and I said, I'm a single mom of two. I don't know if I can, really do this. And they told me to come here. You can apply. We have something for non-traditional students. So in the meantime, I went to another local school that is no longer now operating. They actually closed 2 years after I went there to look at the school. And I felt
Oh
like I
wow.
was, well, one, it felt like I was going into, remember the movie Lean on Me?
Uh-huh.
And they were at East High.
Yeah. Lockdown, like
So when I
yeah.
went, so when I went in there, that's what it felt like. It felt
Mm.
like an old high school, which it was. But they closed down. So I went to Morgan and I said, you know what do I need to do? I filled out the application. They told me I needed to get my transcripts. So I said, okay, where do I need to get them from? And I'm going. I went and picked them up. And actually, they were not supposed to give them to me. They were supposed to mail them to me
Until right.
at
So you
that
won't
time.
with them.
Yep. They were supposed to have mailed it in a sealed envelope. But she said, ma'am, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to you anyway in a sealed envelope. I took it right back up to Morgan, and that same day I got accepted.
Oh wow.
That
Nothing
same
but
day.
God. Nothing but God. I'm
Yep.
gonna just say it. I'm gonna call it for what it is.
For what it is,
When
you
you
know?
are ordered to do something, it
Yeah,
all falls in line. Doesn't mean it's gonna be easy to do.
right.
It falls in line.
And that's
Mm-mm.
how it worked. That's how, for me, that's how it still worked till this
Right.
day. It's nothing that I could say I just can't do if I don't try it. And
Right.
that was my opportunity to try it. I went there, got approved, got accepted. Um, they gave me my student ID number, and I got the email a little bit later to say I was officially accepted.
Right.
In my first year and a half, I was only doing maybe about 10 credits. And I had one of my professors say to me, you know, you're only 2 credits away from being full time. You know how much money you can get extra just in grants? And I was like, okay, we'll see. Tried it out, and from 2008 all the way up until 2014, you know, and she said it wasn't about the time that you get through it. You don't have to do 4 years. It's all
Right.
about your GPA.
Right.
I didn't
Right.
know that. It's
Right.
all about your GPA. And
I
I
think
did. I
most
mean, I
people should know that.
graduated. Yeah, it's all about the GPA. That's what they look at when when you apply for graduate school.
Uh-huh.
You know, you got to qualify in your GPA. They're not looking at how long it took for you to get through undergrad.
Okay, no, you're absolutely right. You're right about. Okay, so now I understand because I was just like, wait a minute, I'm over. You know, the wheels were churning, right? And I was like, but you're right. GPA, you know, your GPA is what's important, not
Yeah.
the length of time that it takes from you to get to point A to point B. So, and you're so right about that. I want to make sure that we have time to make sure that we discuss your journals. So, after going to Morgan, after graduating from Morgan, going for your master's, then you opened up Xpressions. That's when Xpressions mentoring and counseling actually opened up, correct?
So, so in 2007 was when I had the vision for a mentoring. I wanted to work with young girls to help them, you know, to give them guidance.
Right.
2007, the name, I had the name already. It was just a
Okay.
matter of going downtown to, you know, go through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, this is where faith kicks in because at that time I was nervous, fear,
Mm-hmm.
10
Mm-hmm.
years of fear prolonged the birth.
Of the I understand. I understand. But you're not the only woman that has done that. We're sitting up here just talking, same thing. So I'm sure
Yeah,
that others that are watching this are probably say, girl, y'all, I know what you're talking. And y'all can talk to the screen like you do a movie. Talk to the screen and
yeah,
say, you know what, Dr. Stanley, I understand because I'm same thing happened to me.
yeah.
So then once you birth Xpressions,
That was
because
in 2017.
that was in 2017. That was in
So here I
20,
am.
and
Yep,
now we're here.
we're here. So
We're here.
2017, I went from closing my salon suite
Mm,
in well, I did give it until March. So March the 1st was my end date in 2017. February the 27th, 2017 is when I got the paperwork done to officially establish Xpressions Mentoring and Consulting. And it just went from there. Here we are today. We have
mm,
grown. We are connected to 2 Baltimore City schools, rendering services to 2 of the Judy Centers, which is a large division under Baltimore City Public School System.
mm-hmm.
And we also teach social emotional learning to pre-K and K, as well as offering workshops to families, to the teachers. So we're really close with the clinical team at the school, as well as the Judy Center is who I'm directly connected with as far
Right,
as who Expressions Mentoring and Consulting directly works with.
right.
It started off in 19. 2019, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who's been in the city school system for a long time. And she's been telling me she wanted to, you know, work with me. She had some ideas
Right.
that she wanted to put together. And I came in, they wanted to know about what I had to offer, gave them a proposal, and we moved forward. I was doing workshops once a month from 2019, November 2019, until the pandemic hit. We had to end all ongoing
Right.
workshops. And I got a phone call in June because at this point, I was still actually working in the office. I was working under a clinical psychologist. So I was working 4 years in the clinical environment. And because pandemic came about, they had to shut all of that down. I didn't work from March to July
Wow.
at all. And got a phone call. I'm sorry, that was in May 2020. Look, we have something we want to propose to you. We want you on board, more hours, and it worked out perfect. It worked out perfect. And here I am now, 2 duty centers. I'm looking to gain the rest of them that exist.
Claim
I'm
it.
going to claim that one.
Claim it.
I'm going to claim that one. I'm going through and I'm going to collect. Like the offering plate, I'm going to collect.
Don't blame me. Have a bucket. Go ahead. Have a bucket. Big
Yeah,
or big pretty basket. We take a big pretty basket, y'all.
right. A pink one.
On top of that, right?
Right.
Color choice decided already.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, that this is exactly, you know, understanding and knowing where an author or a writer or a creator gets their heart and their compassion or their love or their creativity, where it is built from is important. All of Dr. Stacy Stanley's information is going to be in the description box under this, on top of this broadcast. You will have all her information. If I were to sit here and go through line by line, y'all, we would be here. We wouldn't even get to the book yet. So I'm going to make sure that what we did not cover in this interview, we make sure that I have that up in the broadcast notes so that you have it. But what I would like for us to do is to get ready, because so that Dr. Stacy Stanley can take us through. Y'all, I said two, right? I got them right here because my producer of the show, she told me to make sure I had my stuff ready, and I did. So I'm being obedient to what
Yes,
she
because we're
told
going
me
to
to do.
dive in. We're going to dive right on in.
So here we go. This is number one. This right here is, I'm going to say this is adulting 101 right in here. Okay, y'all. Y'all want some self-care adulting. This is it right here. Now, my book, I will open it up. You won't see any writing. I wrote mine in a bullet journal, knowing that I was going to do her interview. I didn't want y'all to see my business. My business, okay? My business. And then this beauty came, fell in love. Y'all, I fell in love with this. Opened it up, and I was telling my team about it. And they were just like, oh my goodness, you need to do a commercial, Allenia. Fell in complete love. This right here. So the first one is for the mama bear. And this is for the baby bears, okay? This right here for your baby bears, y'all. So I am going to go ahead, and for y'all listening and watching, I'm going to just open it up for Dr. Stacy Stanley to kind of walk us through this a little bit. If you have a copy of this, y'all, if you have your copy, look at it while she's talking about it. If not, then go ahead, drool over it while she talks, okay? And then when we're finished, you click the link so that you can order your copies with an S, okay? So Dr. Stacy Stanley, the floor is yours. I am dropping the mic to you now.
Thank you. I am so excited. I'm so excited to share this with you. As you heard, there is some background to how I got to this point, and I'm excited to share. I am very transparent when it comes down to self-development because there are so many people experiencing things that we sometimes feel that nobody else has experienced. Well, that's not the case. And based on what I experienced and how I was able to get through, and still learning to get through, was being able to focus on what was best for me. Um, also breaking any cycles, and also moving forward. Our past does not dictate our future at all. It doesn't have to. So moving forward, I want to talk about this journal. So it's the Motivation Journal by Xpressions Mentoring and Consulting. It's 100% color. And the reason why it was 100% color is because color brings so much fulfillment to our lives, whether it's a change in bright colors to maybe a change in neutral colors to a change in darker colors. Well, unfortunately, you're not going to find any dark colors per se in this journal, but it's enough to be able to keep you motivated. And that's the key, is to stay motivated. So I welcome you to this world of the Motivation Journal that was meant for you and for me and for everyone else that can benefit and feel motivated to grow, because that's the key. So just starting off, the journal is divided into 5 chapters. And these 5 chapters were really thought about, for one, relaxing. Before you really dive into journaling, and I understand people have different techniques to journaling, and it's okay. Different techniques are fine. But what I wanted to give to my supporters and to the audience is 52 weeks of guided motivation journaling. Guided means that you don't have to figure out what is due for you to write down. What, your thoughts, do you have to come up with some type of strategic plan to write down your thoughts? Not at all. It's really not, but it does guide you. So the first area of it is being able to relax. And each week starts off with a motivation quote. You will find quotes from Dr. Maya Angelou, Dr. Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, um, Booker T. Washington, and you may find some from me. You just may find quite a few. You will, and I hope you like it. So there's an area for relax. The next thing we want you to do is to be able to relate, be able to connect with yourself, because this is between you, your hands, your pen or pencil, and your journal. We want you to connect with yourself. The next is release. So release is you're going from your internal thoughts to physically writing it out where you can see it. It's nothing like seeing it, because we can always go back and reflect on it. Once we reflect on it, we're going to rejoice, because you do have the opportunity to be able to rejoice on the little steps that you take in life. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, and to just be able to reflect. There are times in life that we're going to have to reflect just to be able to help us grow, even if it's things that we don't want to reflect upon. But our past experiences are going to help guide us as we go forward in life. So one thing I wanted to show you is one of the weeks. This is not necessarily in order. However, you're going to start off with a motivation quote for the week. This is by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and it states, "Faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase." How deep is that? Just taking the first step to get us to that bigger side of where we want to get to. So with this particular week, you have the opportunity to write the week that you choose to work from. So if it's starting from March the 1st, the week of March the 1st, you have the capabilities to write it in the week of March the 1st. What do you want to do? What do you want to do this week? What we want to do in a week time frame doesn't necessarily mean that this is something we want to get done, fast, quick, in a hurry. But just creating those little steps. And by doing so, there's a section where you want to create more. What you want to do more of and what you want to do less of. So you have the capabilities to do more of something or less. Either way is still productive. The second section of this journal weekly focus, intentions, and aspirations. What better way to be able to figure out how can I get to the next level of my life? What I need to focus on. And it's piece by piece. That's what makes it great because you have the opportunity to put realistic goals, what you want to focus on, your intentions and aspirations. And this doesn't necessarily have to do with just you. It could be how you interact with others. Your weekly highs, there's a section for you to note what your weekly high was. Did you get a bonus at work? Were you able to gain an extra contract? Were you able to start your business? Were you able to celebrate the anniversary of your business? Your weekly lows. Sometimes that weekly low may not be what we really wanted to get accomplished. So it does change, it does shift how we perceive our week. And it might just be that small thing that's a low, but don't let it overtake your week. Something I did or want to do for someone else. What a way to show gratitude, and what we do for other people does not have to be monetary. It could be just a simple holding the door for someone, maybe giving some food to a family who's in need, or even sharing a virtual hug. We're in a pandemic; we can't physically hug, but we definitely virtual hugs are always great. So there are so many things, and this journal actually works for the virtual world and also in the physical world. Um, the development of this journal was during COVID. It was during COVID, and I felt like it was more needed. And going forward, hopefully, it will touch lives to the point where once we become physically in the same social environment, that the things that we write down, we can see coming to fruition. I am grateful for. There's an opportunity at the bottom of the book um, to express gratitude. What are you grateful? What are you grateful for? The last thing we typically don't do, we typically don't rate ourselves for the week. It's very important that you do that. It doesn't mean that you have to rate yourself as a 50% or a E if you don't get everything accomplished. Don't forget when you're journaling, you're writing down what you plan on focusing on, your intentions and aspirations. Writing it down is the best tool. It's the best tool. And like I said, this is 52 weeks of guided motivation. One thing I want to share is that it actually helped me with going through my doctoral program. I was in a doctoral program from 2016 to 2020. And I didn't think in 2008 that this is where I would be as a single mom, just trying to get through school, being one of the first in my family to actually go through a Ph.D. program is not easy because there is no one that can really understand where you are, what you're trying to do while you're going through it. Only from a small perspective of it, yes. But when you actually had to do the work, it's like you can sometimes feel like you're on a show by yourself. It gets a little difficult. So this journal is good for so many women, moms, single moms, married moms, um, teenage moms, uh, school, part-time school, full-time school, boss girls, boss ladies, retired. There are so many women that can benefit from this journal. It's not just for one group of women. It's actually good for those who have things that they experienced in life that they're trying to grow from. We're all have been exposed to some point of healing, whether it's physical healing, emotional healing, uh, mental healing. We've all experienced a tad bit of something that we can benefit from this book. So moving forward, so that was in November when that was launched, and you can purchase it on Amazon, and you can also, or you can uh, receive a free signed copy. I was going to say free, a signed copy from me, and I appreciate everyone who has supported that opportunity to receive a free copy. I'm sorry, a signed copy. And moving forward, not only do we have to focus on the moms, the ladies, because not everyone is a mom, but to focus on the ladies, we carry a really big role, whether you're an educator, whether you're a mom, whether you're an aunt, a grandmom. At some point, we have been exposed to children, whether it's our neighbors, um, kids down the street, on another block, we've been exposed to them. In January, because I wasn't done. In January, I wanted to fulfill the opportunity for children to experience the same thing, but at a different level. So, All About Me, Can't You See? For pre-K through fifth grade. And as you can see, there's so much diversity on this cover. And I enjoy diversity in everything I do because not one child is exactly the same, whether it's height, whether it's color, it could be hair, it could be anything. Not one child is exactly the same. Personality, how they think, they're not the same. So All About Me, Can't You See was launched January 2021. And this focuses on Erik Erikson, who's an American German psychologist. He focused on the psychoanalytical developmental stages of social emotional development. So what this book consists of is 6 different chapters. Chapter 1 focuses on I like to. So what a child like to do. Chapter 2, what they're feeling. So it's I feel. Chapter 3, my favorite. Chapter 4, would you rather. Chapter 5, changes. Chapter 6, silly me. I am big on color, the opportunity to express, for children to express themselves. Trying to get it. There you go. So in the first section, we have I like to be with family or be with friends at school. And this is a workbook. It's an 8 by 10 book, so it's big enough for them to see the words clearly. It gives them space to be able to draw or write about what they feel, what they like to do. And one of the things that, based on the age range, is some children like to write. They like to live in a fantasy world within themselves, and it's okay. That's one of the things that I actually teach when teaching social emotional development. Just being able to explore yourself in ways that you really don't think about. What is it that I like? At 6 years old, I've seen kids who put, pizza, they put all kinds of things, and it's okay. It's okay to learn about yourself through this development of this workbook. Just being able to learn about yourself, and not only for a child to learn about themselves, but most parents to be able to engage in that child-centered time. Child-centered time is so important. It can be utilized in the morning, afternoon. It can be something that you take an hour to do just to be able to do with your child, and you get to learn about them. What better way to be able to learn about your child is through social emotional development. And it's so important because with us being in a pandemic, the one thing that they do lack is the opportunity to express themselves and learn from one another in the education environment. Um, so this is so important to be able to continue with um, that development, at home with family. We're constantly working, we're constantly ripping and running, but you could do this on the road, traveling, vacation. The pictures are so big they can color. All they need is crayons, color pencils, regular pencils, whatever they choose to use to color, and to show what it is that they feel. Another one is my teacher makes me feel good when he or she. This, I thought that was just thinking from my childhood. You have that one teacher who's your favorite teacher, who's there for you when things happen, that can say it's going to be okay. I remember when my dad had passed, my second grade teacher, I remember how she made me feel when my dad had passed. Her coming over to my desk, asking, how do I feel? Am I okay? Things of that nature. That's that one teacher, and I actually seen her a little over a year ago. And it's the one thing I remember about just having that support. Children need support at this time, even within a pandemic, even when we didn't have a pandemic. Children could benefit so much from just being able to learn about themselves and connect. Another one is I feel proud when. I always ask kids, how do you feel? So when I'm teaching, the first thing I ask them before we start our lesson is, how are you feeling today? It's important for kids to be able to understand their sense of their emotions. Um, and like I said, if they choose to write it, if they choose to draw it, it's totally up to them. This is a book that they can actually reflect on, even going into adulthood. So it's not a book that you complete in one day. You can actually section it out, and it can be done on a weekly basis or a daily basis. Uh, Depends on that child-centered experience and what you want to give your child to do. You can take it on vacation. It's something that they want to just, while you're relaxing, they can relax and color and still learn and engage in that social time with family. So that's pretty much it. It's 100, roughly 100 pages.
Wow.
It can also be purchased on Amazon as well. And copies have gone out, signed copies, because I like to address, you know, my little superstars, for them to keep shining going forward in life. So they can get their signed copy from me as well. And the motivation journal, if I have not said it, it's 133 pages. At the back, it does have notes that you can put your additional notes in. So it has a note section. I have a thank you section, because I really appreciate all of my supporters. And as we grow together, there's a calendar on the first page. I'm sorry, on the fourth page, roughly like the fourth or fifth page, there's a calendar. So you can see everything month by month or week by week. So that's it.
Perfect. Oh my gracious. I told y'all it was good. It was good stuff. And I'm sitting over here going, okay, I got my little questions, got a few questions. And I said, so when she finishes, I'll be able to kind of whoop right on in. And I did have a few questions,
Okay.
Dr. Stanley, in regards to your. I'm going to start with the woman's journal first,
Okay.
and then work my way over to the child's journal. So one of the things that I noticed, and as you had already said, selected quotes from a lot of prominent people that we know in history that have impacted the world. Are you thinking of ever creating a journal where it houses all of your thoughts instead of kind of yours sprinkled in there?
I think you are giving too much away for 2022.
Okay, so then
So
I
I'm
need to
going to keep
start
that a
writing.
secret. I'm going to keep that a secret because I don't want to give that away. But for the Joy Nook Club, yes.
Yes, because I was going through it, and it's so interesting because the first quote that I read was actually my director of training and development and production. She was the one who said, I said, have y'all, what stood out? And she said the first thing that got her was that, because it validated where she was in her life. It allowed her to know that the place that she is in right now, and for all y'all that don't remember what I said it feels good to be lost in the right direction. If you notice, Dr. Stacy Stanley did not say that you know where you're going, that you know what's going to happen next, but you're lost in that right direction. Things happen when they're supposed to. And she said that made her so excited. She's at a time in her life where she is shifting in places. She said, I never would have thought that I would be working and doing what I'm doing right now for you, Allenia. So that said so much, because she said she is now part of, an environment that is saying, hey, we want you to be and do better. We
Mhm.
understand that it doesn't look the same for everyone. And that's what she got from that. Um, in the section relate, this quote came up that I wanted to kind of read. This is what Dr. Stacy Stanley said. It takes repetitive thoughts or beliefs in order to manifest anything in our lives. Dr. Stanley, I just wanted to ask you, when you wrote that, was there something going on, or it just was where did that stem from? Because that one resonated with me a lot when I, started working through the journal.
So I want to go back to the first one. It's
Okay.
being lost in the right direction.
Yeah.
2020, I was so lost. I knew I was going in the right direction. I knew I was because I had that sense of, one, I had faith.
Mm-hmm.
I've always prayed over everything I've done, the steps that I've taken in life. And although they did not go in the order I wanted them to go into, I felt so lost. Like, this not what I planned on doing. I
Right.
knew
Right.
it was going in the right direction, but I felt lost because I wasn't as sure. I knew it was going to work out, but I wasn't prepared for the exit. So it's like being on the highway and you got to get off it because it's a detour. So you got to get
Right.
off at exit 90. But technically, exit 90 is going to have you detour to where you can get back on, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we may feel lost, but we're going in the right direction. We know we need to go north.
Right.
We need to go north,
Right.
and that's where we're going. But we just may get lost. And there were times where I felt like I was lost, but I was going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So the repetitive thoughts, positive. And I'm still working on it. Like I said, I'm very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Being that overthinker, I'm still growing
Right.
from it. Some of us, we feel like, oh, we're not overthinking. Well, Not saying you're overthinking a little bit or overthinking a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes we do have those thoughts that
Right.
come,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to think something, if we're going to overthink something, why not deposit positive thoughts in
Right.
as we do it?
Right.
Depositing
Exactly.
those positive thoughts. So as I repetitively deposit positive thoughts, then I start to see that's where the shift come in.
Yeah. I'm high-fiving you.
That's where the shift come in.
That's where that shift comes in. And like I said, when I read it, I was just like, that one just whoo, that one resonated with me. And then that's when my questions started. I'm like, I want more. I want to know, I want more. I want more. I want more. And so
Yeah.
you answered that. So now for your children's journal, because I know we are getting ready to get to the end of this. And I wanted to get this one question in. So, when I was going through the journal, one of the questions that really resonated with me that you asked the children, and I just wanted to know, and I do personally know about how young you were when when my uncle, her daddy, passed away, because that hurt was it was a family hurt. And you asked the question, where do you think people go when they die? That right there, when I read that, I was just like, wow, that's a huge, that right there is a huge question to ask, huge and bold, I think, to ask a child that is in this age frame that this book is for. What made you put that in the book?
So with me working with children, one of the things I've experienced a few months ago was one of the students passing away.
Mm.
So
Wow.
I actually hosted a session where kids were able to come on and share their feelings. And one of the children asked, where will she go? Because this is their classmate.
Right,
This
right,
is their classmate, and it's like, you really don't think about that. They see it, oh, older people pass away,
right. Mm-hmm.
and how they actually describe where they think she's going. And you hear about the angel wings, you hear about the floating in the clouds, you hear about all of those things. They still
Right,
have an imagination of, you know, what may happen. And they also
mm,
ask questions. So
right,
when I mentioned about child-centered time, we sometimes avoiding death until it's appropriately addressed, because
right.
sometimes it's not addressed
Mm-hmm.
appropriately,
Right,
and it's okay to learn about it. It's letting them know it's okay to learn about it, and this is how it can be discussed. So a lot of these areas in this book are good prompting questions to be able to address certain
okay.
topics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so harsh, or you have to wait until someone passed to really be able to talk about it, or avoid it when
Right,
someone passed.
right,
Because it's good
right.
to have them prepared, because these kids weren't prepared for their classmate to pass away
Mm,
at all.
mm-mm.
They weren't
Right,
prepared for that. But with the parents' permission, and they were able to come on with them, to be able to work through that. So it was just very important to address that one area that does go unnoticed, because being able to address it is difficult.
right, right. And I think we as adults, um, I could definitely be on here, for hours with this. But we as adults, we do forget that the children mourn and grieve as well. And I know it from the corporate world, we would do grief, have grief counselors come in when an employee passed away to help people transition through that loss. And so why aren't we thinking that for children? And I commend you for that. When I like I said, when I read the question, I'm like, that is huge. That's huge. That is really huge. Dr. Stacy Stanley, Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you having me, and I feel elated to be your first guest. And I'm so
Oh
tickled
my,
because you
oh my
deposit so
goodness.
much into me. Believe it or not, you deposit so much into me, and that's what I like about one being a part of your club is that you know women are learning from each other, just learning from
Mhm,
each other.
mhm,
We
yes.
can't grow if we don't learn from each other.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly.
I'm an
We
educator, but I'm also a student of life.
learn.
And the way for me to be that student
Mhm.
of life is to learn from other people.
Right. And I'm with you 100%. And that's why I said that this right here, when my team brought this to my attention, when they said you and they validated why. This was perfect. As you were talking, I get chills. Whenever I know something's right, I get chills, y'all. I do.
Me too.
And
I
like
thought I was the only one.
it might be a family thing,
I know, right?
but I get these chills and I know. And as you were talking about the book, and then I was just like, this was so right. This was so right. You were the right person to have. So I know that you stated before, and everyone, please don't go around going, oh Lord, she up there saying that her contact information all quick. I don't want to hear all of that. Dr. Stanley, can you please tell us where we can get both both journals, okay? The children's journal. Y'all see I had my little posty things up because I had my questions ready. And the adult journal. Please tell us where we can find that. And if you have a website, we will be posting all of this again in the description box. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell the audience where they could find that information.
So there are so many different ways you can find the journal and the children's book. One, Amazon. So you could either type in All About Me, Can't You See? And for the journal, Motivation Journal, Xpressions Mentoring and Consulting. Or you can put Stacy, that's Stacey, my middle initial R, last name Stanley, Stanley, and it will actually bring up both of them. So it's multiple ways. If you can't pull it up by the title, you can also pull it up by my name. In both of the books, both of the manuscripts will actually show, the publications will show, and you can click whatever you would like.
Thank you.
However, by purchasing on Amazon, you will not be able to get a signed copy. But because I love being able to interact and, I'm very personable. So you can actually get a signed copy addressed personally to you. So it doesn't just have my signature because it's not about me, it's about you. So you will have your name is going to be addressed to you, and you can either email me at Xpressions, that's XPRESSIONSMC at gmail.com. So if you email me, you say you want a copy, you have a choice to do it via PayPal or Cash App. The journal is $25 and the children's book is $12.95. One thing I do as a thank you is that I don't charge for shipping. Now, that may not always be the case, but I understand that if that's a way just to get a good incentive for you, because some people are not working.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Right.
I can save in that area, there's no cost for shipping. If you order on Amazon, you will have to pay the shipping and taxes and things like that. Um, Also, the website is XPRESSION-ME.com. So you
Okay. We make sure we correct that. So that's expressions, and then that's dash
so it's no
MC,
S at the end of
no
expressions.
no S at the end, dash MC at gmail.com. I mean, at
Oh, for the yes, for the email is an S.
okay, for the email, it is an S. It's expressionsmc@gmail.com, right?
Yes,
And then, and the website is expressions,
without the S.
expression MC.
Mm-hmm. No,
And then,
I can put it in the chat. You want me to
okay,
put it in the chat?
that'd be great. And then that way
Okay.
we can have that up so I don't mess it up. Y'all, you would think your girl would be ready, but first time with everything, at least I'm letting you know that I did it wrong, okay? I did it
And
wrong.
it's okay because we learn from our mistakes. I make mistakes
Okay,
every day.
so it's expression hyphen me.com, not
Yep,
mc.com.
not
Ex-
MC.
expression. Okay, then that's why I got it all wrong.
I
Okay.
put so the reason why I say the little dash is because when I used to say hyphen, people were like, is that the unfortunately, yeah.
Right. No, I no, I get it. I get it. So we're gonna make sure all of that is posted so that you have it. And I want to make sure that everyone knows that all of the book club broadcasts will be housed in the guide section under Joy Nook Book Club podcast. You will be able to find every single solitary broadcast that we do and the author's information so you can come back to it at any time. I'm telling you, this right here is the book for Christmas or birthdays for little people. This right here is a great start for the year. And the great thing about it is it doesn't have dates as she showed you. It's blank. So and she's preparing for 2022. So y'all, I'm
You
not
know
gonna
the
mess things up.
secret.
I'm not gonna mess things up, y'all. But y'all don't be going running, y'all. Don't go running and telling the business. What happens in the Joy Nook Club happens in the Joy Nook Club. Again, Dr. Stacy Stanley, thank you for making this a wonderful and exciting first broadcast to the Joy Nook Book Club. So I want to say thank you again. Thank you to everyone that decided to listen. And I want to close us out with this thought. I had this marked and I want to make sure that I read it because it's my show and I can do that. I can do what I
And
want.
while you're flipping, I want to say a special thank you to you,
Thank
Allenia,
you.
and your staff,
Thank
for being
you.
able to help you put this together
Oh,
and
thank
to be
you.
able to have me because I'm quite sure working as a team, um, they've been probably working in, putting their best foot forward to
Oh
be
my
able to
gracious,
help
yes.
you.
Yes, they have. Oh my gracious.
Yeah.
Y'all, one day I'm gonna have them all on here and they're gonna talk about me real bad. They're gonna talk
Have
about
they
me
experienced your
real bad.
karaoke? They haven't experienced your karaoke.
No, no, not yet. Not everybody can not everybody can handle my karaoke because I don't know. Okay, y'all, those of y'all that are watching, I don't know the words to songs. I just know songs. I feel it in my spirit, in my soul when I start singing. I just start singing. All right. Join the club. I just want to close out with this one quote. Another quote that I just so loved. And this is from Dr. Stacy Stanley. Accepting standards lower than the full value is not a compromise. And that's all I have to say. Drop the mic on that. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy. Peace and blessings.